Hello, Sagittarius. This is your monthly love reading for the month of July. I want to say, when I say partner, it doesn't have to be a committed relationship. It's whoever you're coming to this reading about, whoever you're thinking about as, when you came to the reading. It's whoever, whatever relationship has been pressing you. Now, and for singles, it's more about your relationship with love in general and how you could be blocking love or what you're doing that is either attracting love to you or keeping it from you. So it's more about your relationship with love itself. My readings are very helpful for that, for you being able to see your relationship with love itself. The cards with the words on them, those are the Psychic Tarot deck. And then the other deck is the Oracles of Vision deck. You won't hear me say what the Oracles of Vision deck cards mean, because they're not meant to be used with inherent meanings, which is the way I prefer to operate as an intuitive. I really don't like a lot of meaning in cards. I like to interpret them through my spirit. So let's go ahead and get started. Your partner has triumphant success, material and spiritual prosperity, and shadow. Now, it's funny because they start the month off feeling victorious and you end it feeling victorious. And the overall energy for the month is transformation, okay? So there's some change going on. There's going to be some tricky energies. This is your partner's energy. Your energy, and the middle energy is the energy of the relationship. Now, I'm getting that your partner's feeling like they can somehow get you to accept them. Like they're wanting they're feeling like they belong. But I'm getting a second story. For some of you, this partner is feeling successful at pulling the wool over your eyes. They're feeling successful about getting you to see them the way they want you to see them versus the way they really are. For some, that's going on. And yeah, because, and that's happening for a lot of you. But what I want you to understand about that is when people do that, it doesn't mean that they're bad people, or they don't always they're not always doing these things consciously to just straight out be manipulative. They do these things for reasons like this. Shadows within the soul, things that they can't see within themselves, old hurts and pains that they haven't healed, things that they don't realize are still affecting them. Insecurity. Some of them are doing it out of insecurity. They want you to see them the way they want you to see them versus the way they really are, because some of them are insecure, or they feel like if you saw who they really were, you wouldn't approve. They wouldn't, you would reject them. But right now, in the beginning of the month, they're feeling successful, like they're capable of making you see them the way they want you to see them versus the way they really are. And some of them are feeling like they've already been successful at that. They've already done that. They're feeling good about it. And then in the middle of the month, some of them are just feeling so good about this fake persona or this way that they've put themselves off to you and feeling like successful about it and you believing it, that they're kind of getting too big for their britches in the middle of the month, where they're feeling so good about it. It's like they're feeling really lucky and they're feeling like on top of the world about it. Like they're feeling like they're feeling kind of smooth, like they're pretty smooth. But they're not realizing what's really going on here. Because see, at the same time, because there's some little back and forth play going on here. So let me show you your cards. Trapped in fear. Emotional withdrawal. And victory and success. Okay? So look, at the beginning of the month, when they're feeling like successful at pulling the wool over your eyes, you're starting to get fearful that you're never going to get the type of love and nurturing, authentic love that you're trying to get. You're feeling like you're not going to get what you're starting to be afraid that you're not going to, this relationship will never be the nurturing, loving type of relationship that you want. A relationship where you care for each other and nurture each other. They don't see this happening though. And so then in the middle of the month, they're feeling really good and getting too big for their britches. So some of you are going to start seeing some behaviors that are like, they're feeling like they got you wrapped around their finger, or like they got this in the bag. The middle of the month, they're feeling good. They're feeling lucky, like, wow, they really think they're doing something here. But they have a shadow going on. It's not what they think. And so, and I'm getting that that's because of this energy you have. See, them having that energy kind of puts you in a place of being afraid that you're never going to get the kind of relationship and nurturing and love and tenderness in a relationship that you're looking for. Well then, because you're in this energy of being afraid that you're not going to get this tender and loving relationship, like it's never going to happen, you may be doing things at the beginning of the month trying to show more nurturing and tenderness and love, trying to make the relationship be this thing that you're fearing it'll never be. But then they're interpreting that in the wrong way, and it kind of feeds their ego a little bit, and then they're feeling like they're hot stuff a little bit. So then when they start feeling that way, you're like, okay, emotional withdrawal. So then at the middle of the month, you're like, I don't know what they thought this was, but you start kind of backing up. You're like, I don't know what you think this is, but this is not that. You have that kind of attitude. And it's like you start to emotionally withdraw from the relationship, and you're starting to look in another direction. You're completely turned off by this. I don't know what they thought this was going to do, but you're completely turned off by their energy in the middle of the month. So then when you get turned off by it, boom, the shadow pops up. And they start seeing, like, at the end of the month, like, whoa, because they were feeling so good. They thought they had it in the bag. And then when you start withdrawing emotionally and you're literally ready to walk in another direction, and then it hits them like a ton of bricks. And they're like, wait a minute. So now they're starting to see here the risk that's involved with thinking like this, the risk that's involved with not being real, the consequences of not showing up authentically, the consequences of being manipulative. And like I said, don't take it as they're bad people. We're human. We've all done things like this in relationships. Who of us has never tried to put on a certain image with somebody that we like or love? So don't look at it that way. I'm just showing the energies to help you navigate the month, to help you see what's going on, and to, just to help. But I don't want it to be, like judging them or making it like they're bad people because of this. Because as humans, we do these things, okay? And these come from things within us, our own insecurities and fears. We've been hurt before. We've gone through things. We've experienced a life. Some of us have been abused as children. We've been through things that makes us behave a certain way in relationships. It makes us do certain things. So what happens is when you back up, it hits them and they realize there's been a consequence to all of this, and it wasn't, they weren't as in control. Like, you can't do that in a relationship. You're going to lose the person. You're going to lose the person playing these games. And it's not that they're really trying to play games, but because I'm speaking more so, I'm telling you how it's going to feel to you. You're going to feel like they're bullshitting. They're playing games. And I'm getting that it's not that they're really trying to play games. They're trying to feel secure. But there's some things that within them that they have to work out. And they're just doing this right now. But when you back up, it hits them. So now they have to face that shadow. They're facing this darker aspect of themselves and the way that they behave in relationships that they didn't really realize it. This may have been a pattern for them based on how they had to survive in relationships before, or how they had to be in relationships before. But now it's hitting them and they're realizing it's a consequence because you weren't buying it. They didn't have it in the bag with all of this like they thought they did. But then this is what happens. As they realize this, that's the point where you, now at the end of the month, you are the one feeling victorious because you're feeling like they're starting to see things your way. Their perspective is now changing. The overall energy for the month, transformation. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. So the end of the month, now you're feeling victorious. They started off feeling that way, played around with these energies and these games and this, all whatever they had going on here. And it didn't work out well. So now at the end of the month, you're feeling victorious. You were feeling defeated and stuff in the beginning of the month. You had the fear and the emotional angst. But that flips on its head because they have to face this shadow. Now, when I look at the energy of the month, not the energy of the month, I'm sorry. The energy crowning the relationship, we have memories of love. They are contributing stand your ground. And you are contributing the waiting game. Okay. So what I'm gathering from this is that all of this playing out throughout the month, underneath it all, it's causing you to remember a better time. It's like you're remembering love, and you're remembering everything you hoped love would be. Like, it's really bringing that to the surface of thinking about how beautiful love is supposed to be. How precious love is. And see, you're figuring it out more so at the beginning of the month. You're feeling this. When you're feeling like you're in fear that the relationship will never be what it needs to be. And then they get in that space at the end of the month once this shadow hits them. Once they have to face this shadow. And then at that point, they're thinking about it too, because they're feeling like, wow, I could have ruined a good thing. You know, and they're thinking about what they don't feel like relationships should be this way either. See, that's what I'm saying. They're not a bad person. It's just their own stuff. But they're thinking about it at the end of the month. Now, what I'm getting as the energy that they're contributing to the relationship is that for a lot of them, even with all of this going on underneath, and even with them really having to face this shadow, they may not show this to you. You may not see right away or throughout this month that there's some change really coming about like that. You know, some of you might see it at the end of the month, but you might not see it because they're kind of seeming stubborn a little bit, because they're feeling, you know, they're kind of in a more stubborn energy, not willing to see it right away. And they're thinking that it's possible for them to have what they want without change. But it's not. Things gotta change. This is the energy of the month. Transformation. Some things has to transform. But they're in a little bit of a stubborn energy, so you may not see it, which makes sense to why your energy would be the waiting game, because it's like you're starting to feel like, I don't have time for this. You know, you're waiting for things to come around, and you're wanting something real at this point, and you're kind of feeling like, I don't have time to waste, and you're waiting around for some change, and you're waiting around for, you know, them to stop being in this stubborn energy. And you're thinking about what love should be, and you're like, you know, I want that. Like, I don't have time for this. So you're kind of feeling impatient with their stubbornness. Now remember, this is just the month of July. You know, this is all I'm reading is the energies for 1 month. You know, we can go through things in our relationships in a month, and, you know, the next month being a completely different energy. Who knows? You know, this is what's going on this month though. But it needs to go on because there's some transformation that does need to occur. And this person does need to have to face this shadow. So it's really a good thing that they're playing these games right now, because it's gonna bring it all to the light. Now remember too, the good thing about getting a sneak peek into the energies that are coming up is, let me get this, is that, you know, you have some ability to change some of the energies a little bit. Like, especially the partners. If you're a partner of a Sagittarius and you're seeing this, you know, you could avoid some of these energies by beginning to look at your behaviors in relationships now, early on, instead of things having to happen a certain way for it to, you know, come to your awareness. So, you know, sometimes people think, because I'm so honest in my readings, and I don't always say lovey-dovey, you know, type of, you know, glitter and gold and unicorns and rainbow type readings, but I don't do that because I want to tell you guys the truth, because it gives you the opportunity to change things. It gives you more, you know, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So don't ever feel bad if a reading is not giving you the great news that you want to hear, because think about it. You know, how many times have you heard the great news you wanted to hear and it didn't happen that way for the month? Because it's just not real life. In love, in any relationship, it's not, every month is not the greatest month ever. We go through things in relationships. So at least with this, you have some way to kind of help navigate through those times and understand what's going on. So I'm going to pull one last word of advice from, if I could talk, the Romance Angels Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. Spirit, what is the last word of advice for Sagittarius love life for the month of July 2016? And here we go. Chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. So what I'm getting from that, the message that I get out of that, is that this change for the month and this overall energy and this transformation can assist in bringing the authentic chemistry back, the authentic attraction back. And for some, what I'm getting, because we also, remember we had this card as well, the memories of love. For some of you, it going through this for the month and these things playing out this way kind of reminds you. I'm getting that more so for the partners, that for a lot of them, it reminds them of the chemistry and the way they really feel, you know. But for some of you, it's the both of you, you know. But, you know, it's happening for a reason. You know, it's happening for a reason, because there's some things that has to go. There's some things like this shadow coming up. This had to come up and get clear. This way of dealing in relationships. And once they face this and deal with this, you can have a more authentic connection and chemistry with each other. So Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed the reading. That's your reading. If you did, if you guys could do me a favor, I would really appreciate it if you could go right now to the little thumbs up button and give me a thumbs up. I want to say that if it did not resonate with you, please check out your moon and rising signs, as I'm sure they will. Please understand that there's so many people and so many energies, you know, trying to make them resonate with every single person. You know, it just can't be done with, you know, billions of people in the world. So, yeah, and if you want to book a private reading with me where I can look at your specific situation, the link for booking with me is in the description box below. It takes you through the entire process. You know, there's nothing you would need to do with me in order to do that. It's all automated. And other than that, I really hope that you enjoyed the reading. And Sagittarius, you have a fabulous July, and I will see you in August. Oh, I gotta say this. As far as the comments, I want you guys to know I really appreciate the comments. I appreciate any way that you support the channel, whether it's sharing the videos, liking the videos, subscribing, commenting. I appreciate it all. I want you to know that I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'm not always able to respond to all of the comments. I don't want you to take that as a reflection of my heart towards you. It most definitely is not. I love you guys. I really do. I see the comments. I'm there with you. I'm laughing with you. You know, I'm there with you. But I'm not always able to reply to every comment. So never take that personal, please, because each and every one of you is important to me, and you all matter to me, okay? So with that being said, Sagittarius, you have a fabulous month of July, and I will see you in August. Bye-bye.